what's up, everybody, and welcome back to It's in the Blood. How's it going, Dad?
Fantastic.
I'm feeling really good about today. I spent the whole morning working on this internet issue I'm having. Either way, at the end of the day, I'm not going to have great internet, but the dropping in and out, I think I have found a solution. So today is our test run, and I'm real excited, fingers crossed, that we have a good stream today.
Well, so far, from what we were doing prior to the stream, it seems like everything was working really well.
Yep, so far everything's good. I'm happy with it. It's so much better than it was, and as long as it can stay like that, I can deal with this.
Yeah, it's definitely, your voice and your lips are synced up a little bit better, and it doesn't seem like I haven't seen it freeze. And I'm knocking on wood as I say it every time. But hopefully that'll work out and we can go with it, because that will make things a lot easier.
Oh yeah, for me too. I just get mad.
So, which area do you want to delve into first today?
I think we should stick with our normal routine right now and jump right into some baseball, because I'm still fired up. We got a big win last night. Hello, almost home run derby time. What's up, Deletion Par? Yeah, we're pretty excited about that too. Jesse Winker's not going to be in the home run derby, but I respect his reasoning for not wanting to.
The dude is a fanboy. He says he wants to sit there and drink beer and watch, and I can really appreciate that, because guess what? You're a few years into the league. You're still on your rookie contract, and you get to go to the All-Star game. Soak it up, my friend. Enjoy it.
Absolutely. I feel like that, just having the option to do it and being like, nah, I just want to watch it, kind of just like, I don't know. Everything about him I've always loved ever since he came to the Reds. His personality is just like, I don't know, he's goofy.
Yeah, he's not quite he's still a kid. Even though he's 25 or whatnot, he's not quite learned how to be an adult yet. So his growing pains, like he goes through, I've watched him every single year, and whenever he gets doing well, he says something or gets a little hyped on himself, and then he hits a slump. So now he's real careful about what he says, because he's afraid of jinxing himself. And I just love watching his social dilemma there, because he wants to get in there and say, yeah, I'm crushing the ball, but he tries to be so even keeled. And Jim Day, who's a great reporter, always tries to bring something out of him, and he always knows that he's being baited, and it's always a lot of fun to watch them two interact.
Yeah, I feel like the day I truly was like, that's my guy. It was a couple years back, and they were on that rain delay or whatever delay, because they had a bunch of random ones, like with the bees and all of the random delays they've had. And he was like, oh, I'm going to go back and play some video games because I'm a Fortnite coach. Look, I don't play Fortnite, but I think that is the funniest thing ever. He's like, yeah, while we're on this delay, I'm going to go back with these kids and play some Fortnite. And so that's, I was just like, wow, I have a lot of respect for that guy. He's like, this is my job, but while we're on a small break, I'm going to go play some video games with a bunch of kids.
He has done some of them antics in the game a little bit every now and again. He likes to interact with the fans and stuff like that. So, and he likes to shell it out a little bit to the opposing team. And you know what? He does it in a good way that makes it kind of fun. Unlike, Amir Garrett, who's trying to do the same thing, who's growing up a little bit, that does his stuff. He doesn't do it the right way, and he comes off really wrong to a lot of people. So you can see the difference in maturity level between the two, but they're both about the same place mentally. Would you agree?
Yeah, 100%. And to Deletion Poor, he said, I like that Dave Roberts has Castellanos and Winkers going back-to-back. Yeah, they're batting I don't know if you saw it, they're batting 6th and 7th in the All-Star game. And so I do like that they're keeping them together. And, they're already used to batting right next to each other. So it's kind of wholesome in a way that they're keeping that with them.
Yeah, I feel like the if he was playing, I guess he's kind of playing to the media a little bbit and about them too. But if he would have, if Winker would have kept up and not hit that little bit of a slump near the end of the season, then or the end before the All-Star break, where he backed off a little bit, they might have been batting 2-3 or 3-4 together in this lineup. Instead, he kept them together, moved them back in the lineup a little bit, which really takes a ton of pressure off of them. And they're in a ballpark that's notorious for home runs, so I think this game is going to be really good.
Yeah, I mean, I'm really excited to watch it. We don't have any Reds baseball until Friday, and so to be able to watch the All-Star game in between while we wait, and a couple playoff or finals games and stuff like that, it's a good filler, and so I'm excited to watch it.
So I've got a ton of takeaway from the Milwaukee series, and I figured that since I've got some points that and I think we talked a little bit about some of it that I want to throw out there, and then I want to hear your reaction to my take. How's that?
Okay, I feel like I'm gonna have a fairly similar take because I've spent the last 4 games just pulling some opinions up. So go ahead.
So we watched the series this week, and this 4-game series was crucial, really crucial going into the All-Star break, really crucial going forward for their season. So we knew going in that it was going to be super, super important, right? We both knew it. We talked about it. But let's skip on forward to the end here. I want to start with when the game's over, when the 4th game's over, and we're getting ready to leave Milwaukee, and we're interviewing Castellanos, and he basically says there was people talking shit about our bullpen, and guess what? Karma's real, my friend. And he got that off on national TV without being cut out, and he said it so fast that it was like, I don't think nobody knew how to take it. I want to know, based on the statement that he made there, what do you think he was saying to everyone?
I think Nick is cocky and arrogant as this man is. It's well deserved. He's having probably the best season of his career, and so he's able to talk with that on his chest. And so I think he's seeing everything around him. And he I don't know if you watched the whole thing, but other than that comment he did make, he said a lot of good things about this team and a lot of critical things about this team, and saying that we're finally picking up the pieces. We're finally learning each other. We're finally figuring everything out together. And, at the end of the day, in previous interviews, he was like, I just want to win games. I don't care how we do it. I just want to win. I spent my career losing. I want to win. And I think he realizes that with some of their crucial bullpen members on the injury and getting close to coming back, including Michael Lorenzen, that they were able to hold on and win 3 of these 4 games, that he knows that everything is coming together. As long as they can hold on, everything's coming together. All their crucial guys are coming back soon. And I feel like he is in a good enough place to confidently say that once they get all their guys back, they're probably going to be unstoppable. And that is the direction his mind's going to be. If they can keep hitting the way they are and they get TJ, Lucas Sims, Michael Lorenzen, and all these guys that were, important to the games they've won in the past of this season, plus, with the guys that were struggling, starting to, figure it out and, coming together and chilling out and being able to close out games like they're supposed to. And, I mean, even Amir Garrett, I'm mad at him last night, but he has done a little bit better than where he started this season. Like, he's grown, and I think I can easily say he is the weakest link in the bullpen at the moment, but he is actually getting better. And I feel like Nick sees that, and he knows that, and he can confidently say that on TV that, yeah, go ahead and talk shit about us because you're going to do it anyway. Go ahead and talk shit about our bullpen, but it's, karma's real. And so, like, he knows that everything they say is going to come back and bite them if all they have is bad things to say.
Yeah, and, quickly to your Amir Garrett point, that slider that got hit for a base hit was up and in the zone a little bit. It's not where you want to leave it to a left-handed hitter, but you know what? Nobody's perfect. Nobody's going to throw perfect pitches every time. And guess what? I mean, he only gave up the one hit when he came in. And other than that, his last 10 appearances have been solid. He's starting to show a little maturity there. And I think he's going to be just fine. I think that hit was a little bit of a reality check. But guess what? The team responded. And then I'm going to go ahead and go after that. And I'm not even sure if it's the same game or not because all these games were tight. I want to get to Josh Hader. Yeah,
that was last night.
Well, it was the last 2 nights. So the night before last, Josh Hader comes in the game to shut the game down so that they can try to push it, and fires a fastball on the outside corner of the plate, and Eugenio Suarez crushed that ball because it was right there in his alley. Crushed it. I think it was something like 460 feet or something stupid like that. I mean, he absolutely took it to the other way and obliterated it. So I want to fast forward, and I'm going to have an opinion, and then I'll let you go. So fast forward, come into the game again, the exact same scenario the next night, and Josh Hader's pitching, and Eugenio Suarez is up to bat. My take was, okay, I'm Hader on the mound. This guy just crushed me. Nobody crushes me. Gave me my first loss of the year. This first pitch, I'm going to back him off the plate a little bit so that I can have that outside corner. The pitch got a little up and in and got a little away from him and tagged him. I don't necessarily think it was on purpose, but I think pitching him inside was truly intentional. And then Gino at first took it as that, guess what, this guy just hit me up. And it looks like to everybody in the world like it's on purpose. But the thing about it is that it may not have been, but this team beat Josh Hader twice in a row, who's been the most dominant reliever in for saves in the 9th inning of all Major League Baseball. I want to know how you felt about that whole sequence, and also, I loved it. I just loved it. It made me happy because he put the go-ahead run on base, which was important. But I just want to know what you thought about that because I took a lot out of that sequence.
I mean, no pitcher is going to ever admit to doing that on purpose, unless they're just bad and ruthless. So I mean, the way it looked, and when you spilled it out for me yesterday, I mean, it makes a lot of sense that they went ahead and shut Gino down, hit him, whatever. And so, I agree with you on there. He may not have meant to hit him, especially on the first pitch, but I know he was trying to make him jump back a little bit. And so, either way, I think he accomplished what he wanted. But, this Reds team, I don't like to talk too good about them because then is where you get your chance to get your hopes up. But they just keep doing little things that keep impressing me more and more. And the fact that they, like you said, shut Josh Hader, probably the best reliever in baseball right now. Shut him down 2 days in a row. Both of them weren't off home runs or no. Nick hit that big single down the middle of the field, and they retired him with that pitch, and so that's just impressive to me. And the fact that the Brewers are basically, you can look at the wild card teams, but you have to be realistic at this point in time because of how far ahead some of those teams are in the playoffs. The Brewers are the only thing holding us back from the playoffs. That, I feel is the mindset we have to be in.
No,
coming after the All-Star break, they come to Great American. If we get a sweep, we're only 1 game behind.
Well, and the other part of that is, I don't know if you noticed or not, because it's hard for us to keep up with the West, but we're only 3.5 behind San Diego now, so we've made up ground in the wild card race as is. So we're within 4 games of 2 teams that keep us from the playoffs right now, and I think that's a really good spot to be in. The whole thing that I think they said on the TV show was that Josh Hader had not been knocked out of a game in over 1.5 years, and
yep.
And he was completely rattled. You know what? That may have screwed him against us the rest of the year. we may have a leg up just because his mentality is now this is the only team that's going to beat me, and which may be true. I mean, who knows? But I feel like as far as the Reds-Milwaukee rivalry for the season goes, we've put a ton of pressure on them coming in. They're going to feel pressure coming into Great American, and we're not. We're going to go in there and be able to play ball and just have a good time. And I think that it really fares well for us going forward. We had the Geno incident, and I really thought that watching that series, how much like playoffs did that feel to you?
I mean, it was just back when you were talking about that Cubs series that was really tense. This was like the most stressful series I've watched the Reds play all season. Even the other Milwaukee games, the Cubs games, the Cardinals games, like all of them. This series was the most stressed out I was watching baseball all year. And the one thing I expected you to get into, and you didn't, was the umpires in this series. Look, I can't say too much because I feel like they leaned. It feels like they had something against the Brewers. Like it really felt that way. But I'm not gonna say stick with that and be like, yeah, the umpires favored the Reds. They made some questionable calls on the Reds too. But there were some things did you see the play where Christian Yelich got ejected?
And I agree.
Tell me how you felt about that.
I completely agreed with it because here is the thing. The thing of it is the base coach told him to go.
No, it was the funniest thing I've ever seen.
Well, but here's the thing. When he came and crossed that line, when you cross that line, you're going straight. The rule is if you make an attempt to go to second, then you have to run back to the base. You're in play. If you go to the right or you stay off to the side, then you don't. Then you can run through the base. He did not. He flinched. He went left for a split second, then thought better of it. I think he was out. By the letter of the law, by the letter of the rule, I think he was out. Even though he may have felt like he did not make an actual attempt to run to second, he did turn left. If you go back and watch
No. Look, I'm not saying that was a bad call by the umpire because if you bring the rule book out, that specific scenario in the rule book is so vague that it is basically whatever the umpires choose. Look, I'm not arguing that. I'm just bringing it up because I think Jonathan India was the funniest thing ever in this. Out of the whole series, nothing made me laugh more because he literally walked up to him smirking and just kind of good run, bud. And then they called him out. And I've never seen Christian Yelich lose his temper and threw him out.
Like I said, I understand both sides of it. I understand Christian Yelich losing his temper because he probably in his mind did not think that he made an attempt to go to second, and he knows the rule just as well as anybody. But that, when you're in Little League baseball and you're taught if you're running past first and you're not going to make an attempt to go to the next base, turn right, come off into the foul territory off the baseline, so that way they have no opportunity to call you out for attempting to go forward. And that's the way every kid is taught. Guess what happened? He made a flinch left. They called him out. He may not have thought it, but whatever. Turn around. Joey Votto's check swing, I didn't think he swung. But that's a judgment call for the official out there. And then, Joey kind of goes off on him a little bit. And he's like, listen, I'm not taking your mouth. So guess what? You can leave too. And so I agree with the ejection with Joey. I didn't agree with the call.
Yeah, I mean, I agree there too, and there was other smaller issues. Like I have the video on my phone because I saved it just in case someone wanted to see it. But I don't even remember who it was for the Brewers up at bat. There's two strikes, and they called a foul ball, but he never touched the ball. I watched the slow motion of him coming down and checking his swing. And they called it a foul ball, but it went over the bat. It never touched the bat.
So in that instance, the umpire thinks that he hears a sound. And if he thinks that sound lines up with the check swing, that maybe he thought that was a foul ball, that's a judgment call. And you know what? They're going to make mistakes on those. That does happen on occasion, right, wrong, or indifferent. And it's a non-reviewable play. So I can,
Just like small things that I was just like, I don't know.
I didn't really have too much trouble with the officiating in the game. I felt like, or in the series, I felt like they were pretty evenly biased on certain areas, and I thought it was at least consistent.
Did you see the I think it was yesterday actually, and I was very impressed this call got overturned, but it was when he was coming into second, and when he slid in, he was on top of Kyle Farmer's foot, but he came off the bag, and Kyle held the tag the whole time. He came off the bag for about a second, and then put his foot back down on it.
I didn't see that.
They reviewed it, and they overturned it and called him out, and I could not believe that they did that. But when he came in, Kyle Farmer had his foot planted on the bag, which is where it was legal. It wasn't like covering the bag. He was standing on it. And when, God, I don't even remember who it was. I've seen so many Brewers players this week. But he slid in, and so, like, here's Kyle Farmer's foot over the bag. He, like, was on his foot. So he technically was not on the bag at that point. And he slid over, got on the bag, and this is when Kyle applied the tag, and he came off the bag to fix his footing, and they called him out. They overturned it because his cleat came up off of it for, like, just a split second. And I was like, I can't believe Cincinnati got that call.
Yeah, I mean,
it was great discipline by Kyle Farmer to hold that tag the entire time.
And that is the new way of being taught, because with replay, if somebody overslides a base or comes off that base for a second, they're teaching them to keep the tag applied on all aspects of the game, and that's probably a good thing. And it's worked out for us on more than one occasion this year. I've seen, and I know that at least one other time where they've kept a tag applied and somebody went beyond second base and they got an out. So kudos for following out what your coaches are teaching you to do, well, even though that's something that you've never had to do before.
Yeah, I thought it was a really well-disciplined play because, first of all, he stepped on his foot. He slid into the top of his foot. That hurt. Like, it was cleat to top of foot. Like, there's no argument. And he finally got, when he caught the ball, he applied the tag behind him, and he never let off of that guy. And then he was ruled safe at first, and they reviewed it and then overturned it in favor of Cincinnati. And that had me all fired up because I think that specific play right there, I think he was stealing a base actually.
Yeah, that's what it was, because I think
that play could have changed the game if it had not been overturned.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, you know what? And that's the other thing. Baseball momentum is a real tricky thing. A lot of things can set it up. A lot of things can take it away. And it's amazing how one action on the field can affect 9 guys. So
yeah, I was really jacked up and thankful for that specific play because it was after Amir Garrett gave up that single. And with that guy on second, I think he really would have shifted things. And I don't know that the Reds might have won that game.
Absolutely, I agree. Couldn't agree more. But we're back to the thing. If you take away from that series, and I'll even go back to Kansas City, we very easily could have won them last 6 games. I mean, the four runs that we gave up in the 9th at the end of Kansas City game, and then losing the first game in where Brock gave up the 2-run home run to lose the game against the first or the second game against Milwaukee. Those are 2 games that we were in all the way till the end. Probably should have won the one in Kansas City. But realistically, we could have went 6 of 7. But you know what? Those were all road games, and we came out, winning 4 out of 6 on the road. That's a great percentage there at the end, and I think that we got everything we needed going into the All-Star break.
The only thing is that one game we did lose in the Milwaukee series, we shouldn't have lost. Like, deep down, like, I feel like I'm going to say that no matter what game we play, but really, truly, that game, we should not have lost. Our bullpen lost that game. And we almost finished the game, too. And that's the problem. That's a problem is, like, we lost at the very end. And yeah, we shouldn't have lost that game. If we
But
would have got that sweep and then going into, them coming here, we would be tied if we got another sweep.
yeah, it's
That one game, I just feel like sometimes, you think about things like future things and you don't want to be that guy, but it's like, well, what if it comes down to the end of the season and we get beat by the Brewers by one game? And it's that game that we should have won. And so it's always going to be like in the back of your mind, and like I don't want that to be true. And the team we should be able to beat them out. We're getting better every game, but it's like one of those lurking thoughts.
oh yeah. I mean, you just wait until the very end of the season when we're going down trying to see who's making the playoffs, who's the wild cards, who's the division winners. Most of the time, it comes down to a half game, and that half game is determined on the last day of the season. Like last year, I mean, we were in, but Milwaukee was, they snuck in too at the end, and it was very, very close. I mean, and it was just, I mean, that was on a 60-game season. That series was great. I'm glad we got it. We're getting ready to go into the All-Star game. And then, so last night we started out the draft. And before we talk about the Reds and the draft, I really wanted to say a little something about Pittsburgh. And Pittsburgh took the first player. They had the first pick in the draft.
Kid.
They took Henry Davis out of the University of Louisville. And I've got to say that as far as catchers go, he is – I mean, there's a couple really good ones in the draft this year, but he's one that I've got to see play a little bit. I've seen some of his highlights, and that kid's going to be a star. And I think they made a really good pick, and I like to see that it's somebody local.
Yeah, I mean, this is one of those moments I wish Colin was in here. Because, yeah, he's a basketball guy, but I feel like he'd be able to tell us everything you need to know about this guy.
Yeah, because he keeps up with just about all the Louisville athletics. And I wanted to bring it up because I know that he is probably going to watch later because he's been watching after the fact on most of our streams based on he's working right now for sure because it's only 3:30 where he's at. But anyway, I wanted to bring that up, and and it was a really good draft pick for them. And I know that Pittsburgh has struggled, and I haven't looked at their second round picks, but I have seen some articles that basically state that they've done really well. So I'm kind of excited because even though I don't want our division to get much stronger, I like having tougher competition. And Pittsburgh.
Oh, I know. I mean, Pittsburgh is not competition really this year. So I don't. It's just like the same thing in football. Going to the NF or AFC East. This is the division that I feel like fits this scenario perfectly. Is you've got the Buffalo Bills, super hot. Miami had at least 10 wins last year, which puts them in the category as kind of hot. And then the Patriots, who are bouncing back and are going to have a good season. But then you have the Jets, who have struggled year after year after year. But look how they drafted this year. Like, they're still going to come last in the division. But they're showing promise. And I feel like this is the same thing with Pittsburgh right now. With them drafting this, number one overall pick, this catcher, from Louisville. I feel like, I don't know, I don't like seeing just only one team struggle in a division. Like, it's just embarrassing. But it makes things like, it's like you can predict what's going to happen when someone's that bad. And so I agree with what you're saying, and I do, enjoy seeing them get better.
I wanted to bring this up really quick because this kid that they drafted out of UCLA, this Matt McClain, I'm really excited about. I did not get to see him play a lot. I did check out a few highlight reels and stuff like that, and I think he's going to be a real deal shortstop. Probably he's not going to be in the minors very long, especially with our need at shortstop. But we're really growing some talent in that area to try to get up. And don't get me wrong, Kyle Farmer's done a great job in a fill-in role. That's not really where they want him to play. But I wanted to show the picture of Matt McLean, and because I was pretty excited over that draft pick. I figured they would go after a pitcher in the first round like they normally do, and to see them go get the position player that maybe 4 or 5 years down the road or 2 years down the road could really help this team. I can see him and India playing next to each other, and it makes me happy.
Yeah, I mean, speaking of the shortstop position, and I don't know if I brought this up on Thursday, but did you see where they've been talking about, I mean, other teams obviously as well, but a lot of teams or a lot of people saying that Cincinnati's going to go after Trevor Story?
I'm going to say no. I don't really think that that's going to happen. I don't think that they covet him like they, in the offseason, they did covet Francisco Lindor. That was one of the guys that they tried to work a deal out, but they didn't want to give up what they had to give up to get him. And even though Trevor Story puts up good numbers and is a good shortstop, I just don't know that they're going to go that route. The Mike Moustakas, I mean, to be honest, is not really worked out for him so far, this 3-year deal. He's not performed at the level that they thought he would, and there's a ton of money tied up there. So I'm not sure that I think that that's a great idea. I think that if they go after anybody, it'll be a pitcher. That's my opinion. But I'm not a big fan of the Trevor Story idea.
I did see that the Reds drafted a pitcher or two.
Yeah, I
one of them was left-handed.
I haven't got into the second round yet. The catcher that they drafted out of Florida State, I have seen him play. He is going to be a project kid, I think. He's a little bit older, a little bit more mature. But the one that's kind of interesting is the outfielder, the kid from John Carroll High School out of Florida, I think it is. His name is Jay Allen II. I've read several articles, but I haven't got any good video on him yet. But I hear he's a game changer. So, when they draft an 18-year-old kid in the first round, and having 3 first-round picks this year was amazing.
For sure. Yeah, I mean, this is the first time I think in my entire life that I've ever even paid attention to the MLB draft. And the thing about that is I say that I paid attention to it, but it really just threw me off guard yesterday. I was just doing whatever. I was either at work or whatever. And I get this notification. It's Pittsburgh Pirates use their number 1 pick and take Henry Davis from Louisville. And I was like, are they doing a mock draft? I didn't know it was in the middle of the season. I was so confused. And I got another one that said the exact same thing from a different place. And then another one. And I was like, why do I keep getting all these MLB draft notifications? I'm so confused. And so I'm not going to really say that I'm involved with it right now. But I'm just thrown off.
It's not as exciting, honestly, because they draft and every year, because a lot of kids will get drafted but not go. So there's a lot of different things in there about it. There was one kid in here that I was looking for his name to be drafted, and I did not see it yet, and we're up to the 4th round now, and I can't even remember his name. I just remember where he played college ball, and I watched him in the College World Series this year. But yeah, you had mentioned that in the second round the Reds picked up a pitcher, and I was sitting there trying to figure it out. Oh yeah, Andrew Abbott out of Virginia, and I do not know anything about this young man. But I will probably in the next 2 days be doing a little bit of research, because I'm sure I can find some highlights and some intel on this guy. But I was looking to see if I've seen anybody else that they had drafted today. And I don't see anybody else in the second round. Let's see what they got in the third round real quick. Oh, and they drafted another shortstop in the third round. So they're really going to make sure that they fill that middle of the infield hole up.
Which is good. I mean, everybody they plugged in there is playing to the best of their ability and doing what they can. And, I wouldn't say that we're hurting, but we do need like a little bit of an edge right there of help.
Yeah, so they're sending a definite message in the first 3 rounds, drafting 2 shortstops. The kid from UCLA, McLean, is definitely a stud, and Jose Torres out of North Carolina State. I have not seen him play yet, but like I said, I will go back through these guys and see how they've done. So, but so far we're trending towards position players. That must mean that they feel pretty good about their pitching staff and going forward their pitching staff, because they did not normally they invest a lot in their pitching staff in the draft, and they have not done so yet this year.
Right. I did notice that, I only saw like the one pitcher, and I just assumed like because of like our bullpen issues and everything, I don't know. I just assumed that we would be targeting pitchers, and that was it.
Yeah, I mean that's usually what you see in the draft a lot of. In the early rounds, everybody goes after the pitchers, and then and this thing goes on for like 20 rounds or something like that. I'm not even sure how long it goes.
Yeah, I didn't really understand how the whole baseball thing worked.
I'm not even really totally sure. I just know that I watched, like, the last time I watched the draft is when we drafted Jonathan India.
Well, I mean, how long ago was that?
Just a couple years back.
Yeah, I was going to say, that wasn't that long ago.
But, I mean, I never, the baseball draft is not as glamorous as the NBA draft or the, NFL draft. The NFL draft makes a really big deal out of it, so.
I mean, I love the NFL draft.
It's definitely.
The only reason is because I actually know a good chunk of the players going into the draft. And I watched the NBA draft for the first time this past year. Right before, like, where Tyrese Maxey, the only reason I mentioned him first was because he's a Kentucky boy, and so you know why I was watching it. I wasn't watching it for me. But, so I got to experience that this year. I've not watched the MLB draft. I've just gotten updates from it. So, I have spent the whole year watching all drafts for the first time in my life.
I know we've been into baseball hard today, and which is fine because it's.
The thing is about it is, by our next stream, we will not have watched another Reds game.
Oh yeah, well I'm sure there'll be plenty to talk about by the next stream for sure, and I really don't like the headlines that I'm getting from Milwaukee won Game 3 in the NBA playoffs, and all you're hearing is these comparisons between Giannis, 2 games in a row of over 40 points, Giannis this and Giannis that. They came out in a game that they had to win. Giannis put up the same numbers, and the rest of the team kind of stepped up a little bit. I still think they're outmanned going forward, and I wasn't that impressed. But the sports media is trying to make a series out of it when I really don't think it's going to be.
I agree. I mean, I came home last night. I went to work, got home, and I was doing all the things I had to do. I was going to turn on that game at 9 o'clock, and at 9 o'clock on the dot, I just RKO'd and didn't wake up. I missed the whole thing, and so I feel really out of the loop because I didn't even see any highlights of it, but all I've heard is like just talking down on the Suns. And I'm like, everyone, okay, so let me just, I don't even remember which football player it was, but he was like, it's easier to win an NBA championship than it is in the NFL. He was like, in the NFL, you can't really have bad days. In the NBA, you can have a bad day, and as long as you pick back up tomorrow, you're going to be okay. And, that really stuck with me before. This was last year, the year before. I think they were talking about LeBron James, honestly. And I have really stuck with me, and I think about that every time I watch basketball. Is like, it's so true. They play so many games a year, and it's the same with baseball, really. And the NFL, they get now 17 games, and then it's a 1-game elimination in the playoffs. If you have a bad day in the NBA, like the Suns were up 2-0 on the series. They had one bad day. That doesn't mean they're a bad team. They're allowed to jump back tomorrow, and they can still take this game in 2 more games, or this series in 2 more games.
Yeah, I think they come back. Well, I don't think they play tomorrow. I think it's the 14th that they come back.
Yeah, I think so.
But I think they come back to 14th. I think Giannis gets his points again, but I don't think they compete as a team as well, and they lose fairly.
Look at not last night, but the game before when the Suns won by like 15, 20 points. Giannis put all those numbers up, and it really ended up not mattering. So we can put those games up every single game of the series, and that doesn't mean they'll win another game.
Yes, yep, I agree wholeheartedly, and I figure that.
I hate the hype that comes with his name. Look, I understand if you're the best in the league and you do everything right, you don't ever have a bad day, And I think a lot of this is coming like the Giannis hype train was already there, but the fact that he's coming off this injury on his knee and playing, putting up 40 points a game is why the hype has like come with it. But yeah, I don't think you should be like excited about that because like you never know. His next time he runs, he could step wrong and it go right back to where it was.
There's the thing I'm going to say. The one thing I think most about Milwaukee, and guess what? I'm not a Bucks fan. I like Chris Middleton, and I'm not a fan of the team. However, I feel like they are one piece away from being a team that can win a championship. I mean, they're in the championship. I'm not sure that they can win this year, but I feel like they're one puzzle piece away. Chris Middleton and Giannis is a great 1-2 punch. If they had one more consistent, super consistent guy that's, right on that level of being a superstar, I really think that they're going to be right there.
Yeah, but look how they play when Giannis is not a factor, okay? They completely become into a whole team. When Giannis is there, it's like he does all of it or nobody does anything. Like, that's just how it is. They all do bad or he does good. And when he's off the field or off the court, let's go back to that Hawks series. That first half, they were winning, but Chris Middleton only had 6 points in the first half. Yeah, he came back in the third quarter and scored like 26 points in that game, in that quarter or whatever. But like, they were playing team ball to stay neck and neck with the Hawks. And like, this is why they collapsed last year and the year before with Giannis. This is the first year with Giannis, them being in the playoffs, that Giannis has made a difference at all. Is like they're able to play well without him.
I'm still back to my point. I think they're one more superstar from taking the amount of pressure off the other two to make it where they can play. It's because like the Nets never really got to be the Nets because they didn't have their whole team together. They didn't get to play together. So them losing is kind of understandable. The Lakers, they seem to be one star shy, but the Suns, Chris Paul, DeAndre Ayton, and
Devin Booker,
that
Kevin.
looks like
his name's Devin.
Yeah, I rolled out
Kevin.
Wrong.
Does he look like a Kevin to you?
Hi, I'm Kevin. No,
my name's Kevin.
But all things considered, those three are as close to what we have as a really superstar group because Chris Paul is going to be a legend as far as point guards go. Devin Booker can flat out light it up, and DeAndre Ayton can control a game under the goal.
Yeah, but like they've got depth. That's the thing. So when DeAndre Ayton's out, they got Jay Crowder, who is not as big of a point scorer factor, but he's a big man who can shoot pretty consistent threes and play defense.
Yeah, call it what it is. They have got a ton of very competent role players on that team that might end up being stars. I mean, some of the young ones might end up being stars later on, and some of them are just they just play the game right.
I mean, I just feel like we talked about Chris Paul coming into the league or coming in, not into the league. That was completely wrong. But him coming into Phoenix and being that veteran role model, that little inch of push they needed to get them to work together, do whatever, and win games, play good ball. But the thing is I think that a lot of those guys had the basketball smarts, but they just needed the confidence. And I feel like Chris Paul made every single one of those players more confident in themselves. And I think that just changed everything.
Yeah, Chris Paul is one of those guys that you want to lead your team because he does make everybody around him better.
Yeah, just being there. Like, I just feel like he boosted their motivation to win, their confidence in their self and their shot and in their other teammates. The work ethic he brings. He just brought so much to the table that I don't even think he had to play with them. I think he just needed to be on the sideline with them, talking to them through these games. Like, almost like a motivational speaker. Like, he could have been that guy. Like, he's almost, when he's not on the court, he's basically their coach.
Absolutely.
And so I just think that, yes, I am so happy to watch Chris Paul play with the Suns. But I think if they would have brought him to Phoenix, playing or not, the outcome would have been close to the same.
And we're talking about the role players that are alongside there that can actually ball it up and play. You take Cam Johnson and Bridges and Crowder, and you've got a really deep team. And then you go into and then you still got like a lot of guys that are coming off the bench that can put in good minutes. I like Cameron Payne.
Cameron Payne is a baller, and
I like Torrey Craig.
He might not be a starter. Oh yeah, Torrey Craig too. Both of them may not be starters, but they're pretty close. Like, they're the best bench players you could have.
Yeah, I just really feel like that they've got the complete package to finish this off this year, and probably I'm still got the possibility of being right, but I still think it's in 5.
I was hoping it'd be in 4. They had a lapse of judgment yesterday, but I'm taking the Suns in 5.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to make it 6. If it does, I'll be surprised. But I really look forward to them coming out motivated to win game 4.
4. Yeah.
And that is on Friday night and Friday the 14th, I believe, or Thursday.
No, yeah, it's going to be Thursday because the Reds play Friday.
Yeah, it's Wednesday night. Wednesday the 14th is the next game in the series, and I really look for Phoenix to come out and do their best, play their best game. I really do. They're going to play a good team game.
I mean, look, they're going to get these couple of days to rest, to talk about it, soak in what happened, and, take a step back and be like, look, we had a bad day. Get over it. Move on, and let's just go back to where we were. They already know how to play against this team. And who knows, maybe they did this on purpose. Did not push themselves. And so by the time they got to game 4, they were just exhausted. Like, slowed things down a little bit. I could see them, either way. I feel like this isn't life or death, them losing this game. And I think they know that.
I feel like they may not have exhausted as much effort as they could, but they knew that Milwaukee was going to come out pumped and burn a lot of energy, and I think they conserved. I think they're.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I feel like they actually took this game easy on purpose. Because they could afford to lose one game.
If they wouldn't have been down 20-some points in the fourth quarter, say they would have only been down 3 points in the fourth quarter, I think they might have finished the game differently. Yeah, I agree. If they would have stayed close without, exhausting their effort, and it's not that they didn't try to win. It's just
Oh,
that.
yeah, I'm not saying they didn't try to win. They always want to win, especially if they can make their next, shorten their number of games to play. But, I feel like they were like, we don't need to go out there and kill ourselves tonight because if we were to have won, we're going to be exhausted in game 4 and lose anyway.
I'm ready to throw you for a big curveball.
You know what?
And I'm not really sure how you're going to handle it, but do you think the MMA world has seen the last of Conor McGregor with that broken leg?
Well, he got really lucky. It was not a compound fracture. It was really, really close. That thing was like this close from coming out of his skin. Like, he got really close. The dude was still talking shit after he broke his leg. So, as long as he heals okay, I don't think he's going to stop until his body says no. Look, he did it to himself. I did not watch the fight. I watched the highlights and, looked at it. I almost threw up when I saw the picture. He did that to himself. Look, as a trained fighter, you should know what you can and can't do and how it's going to affect your body. I think it was because it was this specific guy who gets under his skin and talks just as much shit as he does. Like Dustin Poirier or whatever his name is, I watched his interviews after the game too. He was still talking shit. And he was like, look, he's coming back. I'm going to beat his ass again. I'm like, no, buddy, you didn't win that fight. You got the win, but you did not win that fight. He broke his own leg. So shut up. Like, he broke his own leg. You did not break his leg. You did not defeat him. He defeated himself. And because of that, this egotistical Conor McGregor, he's going to try to do everything he can to heal back up so he can go back in there and probably get beat for real by this guy. Like, he's done winning games or matches. He may not be done fighting, but he is done winning.
I agree.
He's never going to stop until he can't do it.
Because
of who he is. But I don't think we're going to see him win any big-name fights anymore.
Yeah, I mean, you just stick with making your commercials and stuff like that. The dude is really good for media. I mean,
well, I was watching a live stream earlier this morning, and I was just popping through random sports live streams because, I like to see different people's takes on things because not everyone sees things the way me or you see them, and they don't have the same opinion. So I just checked it out, and I clicked on this one because I thought it was about football, but I don't know if maybe they had talked about football earlier or they were going to after, but they were talking about that fight. And they said that like Conor McGregor, out of every fighter that's ever been in the MMA, is the best and most marketable person to have. He gets the people wanting to watch it. He sells the tickets. He sells the pay-per-view. He makes them the most money because of his mouth. Not even because of his fighting. Like, look at his record. Yeah, he's a good fighter, but he's lost a lot of the last couple fights he's been in. And so, for market purposes, Conor McGregor is perfect for them. For fighting purposes, I think that's in his past. And him breaking his own leg is probably like putting the nail in the casket. He may come back and fight after this because, like I said, it was not a compound fracture. He just broke his ankle. I don't know how it wasn't. It was twisted all up. It was nasty. I don't ever want to see it again. But, I don't know how it wasn't as bad as, it looked.
Yeah, I was just thumbing through an article about it. It says, McGregor has 3 hours surgery for broken leg. Blast Poirier's illegitimate win. I mean, he just got out of surgery and he's talking shit.
Neither of them have stopped since they announced the day this fight was going to happen. For weeks, neither of them have stopped. Conor McGregor got taken to the hospital, and Dustin Poirier was on the mat talking shit about him after he broke his leg. He was sitting there just talking shit in front of all those people. Like, both of them are both terrible people. And so the thing is Dustin, whatever, he thinks that Conor McGregor is just disrespectful. That's the take he takes on it. He's like, that guy's disrespectful, so when he gets back, I'm going to beat his ass. And I'm like, shut up, dude. You guys may never fight again. For all we know, he won't heal correctly, and he'll never fight again. So just shut up. But that's how, MMA, WWE, all those people make their money. It's mostly their mouths.
Absolutely. Hey, before we, I know we're closing in on an hour, but before we get any further today or think about it, do you think Shohei wins the home run derby today?
You know what? I really hope so. I actually hope so. You know how awesome that would be?
Oh, yeah.
That'd be the coolest thing ever, to see a pitcher win the home run derby. It's not something that happens every day.
Yeah, I think that he's probably got the best chance to win. I mean, he's the number one seed going in. I think Joey Gallo or Juan Soto is probably the only two in there that can beat him. But I just wanted to know what your take was.
Like, at this point, I'm pulling for Shohei for everything. Like, MVP, home run derby champion. That man deserves it. He's doing, the only pitcher, and this is not talking home run derby, this is talking MVP. The only pitcher that should beat him out is Jacob deGrom. Because the dude's ERA is like 0.1. Like, no, it's like 0.8 or something like that. And it's been consistent. Like, he's doing things that are insane. Except for his last outing, which I think was against the Brewers. That's the only person I think that should beat him out in anything.
Well, I mean, there's a lot of pitchers that are doing more as a pitcher, but no pitcher is doing what he's doing as a player. Put it that way.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, that's why I'm a team Shohei right now. That dude's a monster. He deserves it. Like, I don't think it's going to last forever the way he's playing. And so I think he needs to go all in this year and, enjoy it.
I'm kind of with you. It'll be cool if he wins the home run derby. It'll definitely give us something to talk about on Thursday. This week on Thursday, we're going to have probably the All-Star game to talk about. I'm really ready to really get into some football. I'm ready for it. I did not realize how ready I was until today. And I just started to go back and do some, reading and getting ready for preseason. But, I will say this, I'm going to go into it just a hair. This preseason is going to be phenomenal. And I'll tell you why, because I've never seen a preseason that had so much riding on it. We don't know about Deshaun Watson. We don't know about Aaron Rodgers. We don't know. There's a lot of, is Carson Wentz going to be a bum, or is Carson Wentz going to be the Carson Wentz of a few years ago? He's got the team around him. All these preseasons are going to they all mean something this year. Who's going to be the quarterback in New Orleans? Is it going to be Jameis Winston? The odds are that it should be, but Taysom Hill. He's got a lot of heart going on down there. I mean, there is so much in this preseason that has meaning this year, whereas normally it's just, hey, can we play a few games so we can get to the regular season?
Yeah, I mean, especially talking about the New Orleans Saints situation, I think the preseason we're going to see a lot of both of those guys. And I know it's only 3 games, but I think they're 3 very important games for a lot of teams. We're not going to see Joe Burrow in preseason. We all know that. And so are they, we're going to see Brandon Allen probably in Cincinnati. And so that's going to be interesting because, they could flip the switch and put someone totally random in there. I don't know. It's really weird. And the same questions, are we going to see Trevor Lawrence in preseason?
Have to.
But we don't know.
Yeah, he has to play. He's got to get experience under his belt going into the regular season. He will play a majority of the games.
I just this is a lot of questions that we're gonna have. Is Justin Fields gonna play in preseason?
He is probably going to start he's going to play most of the preseason.
And Trey Lance.
Absolutely. Those guys you're going to see in the preseason because guess what? They need experience. They're going to play.
Okay, here's the quarterback that I think is actually going to throw you. Will we see Mac Jones in preseason? And I feel like the answer is going to be no.
Oh, I'm sure we'll see him.
I think he's the only first-round quarterback we won't see.
I'm going to tell you, we're going to see him in a different light. We're going to see Cam Newton, and if Cam Newton does not perform the way Bill Belichick wants, you're going to see a lot of Mac Jones. If Cam Newton, if Cam Newton performs the first game, you're going to see a lot more Mac Jones the second two. But I don't think if Cam Newton doesn't perform the way he likes, you're going to see both of them pretty equally because it's going to be a competition at that point.
At this point, I think I feel like I've watched and heard so much about Cam and Mac Jones and they're practicing and all this stuff that everyone thinks that Mac Jones is going to be the starter this year. And I feel like coming from a Bill Belichick standpoint that the only way Mac Jones is going to play regular season is if Cam gets hurt. Even if he's the better quarterback. But, look, okay, let's put it in perspective. Cam is average through the season. Mac is good. Belichick's not ready for him to start, and he's playing better. Who starts the game when Tampa Bay comes to town?
Cam Newton.
That's what I'm saying. That question right then and there. Who's going to start that game tells you who's going to be their starter for the NFL season. Who's going to play most of their games.
As of right now, Cam Newton is the guy. He's the one that he's the one that they're showing confidence in. He's the one they're planning for going forward. But Belichick never rests on his laurels. He is making sure that if he's got a game plan ready for Mac Jones if he has to play him this year. Does he want to play him this year? We don't know. But right now,
I just feel like this is a Drew Bledsoe, Tom Brady thing. Or is that his first name, Drew?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
I just think that it's gonna come on based on performance. I think they're both going to get an opportunity. I think Cam Newton looks like the starter. Maybe he lets Mac Jones play the whole third game. Who knows how it's going to play out? But I still think that Belichick is watching these guys as a competition, even though Cam's going to be a starter.
That's fair.
But anyway, I've gotten to the point right now where I feel like this preseason has meaning for a change. And guess what? Another reason it has meaning? Because we didn't have one last year. We went straight into a season.
And I think that really, really screwed up a lot of teams last year.
There's a lot of people out there that think that not having a preseason potentially hurt Joe Burrow more than it helped him.
I agree. I think it hurt Joe Burrow. I think it hurt all of the 49ers, their entire team.
Oh, yeah.
I feel like no one really appreciated preseason until they didn't have it.
So we've actually got preseason hype. And you know what? I guarantee you between you and myself going forward in the next couple of weeks, we're going to pump up this preseason because we're going to find stories in it. We're going to find value in watching it. And it's going to be, to us, it's going to be super exciting, and I can't wait to talk about it.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, over the next couple weeks, and the next week or two, worth of streams, it's going to be NBA Finals till it's over. But, as soon as that's the mark. When the NBA Finals ends, basketball's gone. It's done. We're going full-fledged football. I mean, we'll still have baseball to talk about every week, and I'm still going to be equally excited, but I think it is literally going to be the exact moment where we flip the switch, all football, all week, and I cannot be more excited. I've been, talking to these random coworkers as soon as I see them every day, and I'm like, hey, guess what? 21 days till preseason. And they're like, I don't care. And I'm like, well, you should care because you're about to get a whole fistful of football down your throat every single day for the next 6 months. So you need to get ready.
Yeah, absolutely. I am getting myself pumped up to go watch some home run derby. Do you have anything else you want to get into before we call this a day?
Well, I've been watching the home run derby pregame this whole time, the batting practice show. So it's on YouTube. But no, I mean, I was hoping today would be a little different because I was really excited, that my internet held up.
Hey, that's a win. And you know what? And I got to say, your internet held up today, which is really good for Thursday because now you've figured something out with it to kind of keep it from doing what it was doing before. What do you want to do with this? Do you want to do this giveaway at 250 or do you want to do it at 200? What do you want to do it at? Because I know that YouTube snagged a bunch of subs today.
We're still over 200. And anybody that watches this up until this point, thank you so much. And we really, really appreciate you. We wouldn't be this consistent and this excited if we didn't have people that we knew were watching. We would just talk to each other, not to the internet. So we really, really appreciate that. And be sure to hit that like button. And if you're watching this and you aren't subscribed, be sure to subscribe because we are going to do a giveaway soon. I was thinking to stick with the, Rob put it in my head to the every 100 mark and do something small. And then the big milestones, something big.
Yeah, I was just curious when you wanted to do the autograph item.
500.
500. So that's some work to do. I've been doing some early morning promotion in Asia, trying to build up an audience from over there. I thought it was working out, and then it seems like I got a few and lost a few. So, but they are big on it's a good thing that they're all big Shogo fans. So
well, I'm a big Shogo fan.
I'm gonna have to find some extra Shogo clips and put something together for them. Hopefully they'll find some enjoyment in that, and we'll get a big share and get a big hit. All in all, everything's going fairly well. I've been a little on hiatus. I'm ready to do some recorded content and put out some individual takes again. So those will start airing again pretty soon. I'm going to continue the Indiana series. I was trying to do a few things that didn't work out. And also, I got the word in to a former Reds player that is considering coming on here for one time. So that's as far as I'm going to take it. But I can tell you that it will be well worth it if I can get him on here for an interview, and you will enjoy it.
I'm excited.
A little bit closer with the conversation I had today. Anyway, much love to everybody that shows up and watches this, especially later. Colin, we gave your Louisville guy some love today, so you better come in here, leave a comment, and smash the like. And we will see everybody Thursday night for some down and dirty chat.